Have you ever talked about your experience and your perception of what being high on a particular kind of drug is like for you? And it just kind of, I guess, consequentially makes you stop taking another drug? I don't know, like, I've been smoking pot for probably a decade now. Regularly, like daily, multiple times a day. The only times that I didn't was when I was out of the country. But that was the only, well, alcohol, but like the only like recreational drug that I'd ever done until last year when I started dabbling in mushrooms. And like, it's fun, or it can be, but, and like I did a lot of, I guess, research on different dosages and like what, you know, different people experience at different intensities and whatnot. And like, I think I was having a hard time lining up my experiences from what I was hearing from other people, even like my friends who I was doing the drugs with. I think it mostly just, like, it solidified for me that it's my brain that does those things. Or like what I have categorized as my brain. And like the drugs interact with my brain and make it do stuff sometimes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I can't do those things without the drugs. I think the visuals thing is what really got me, because like I've had auditory hallucinations smoking weed. I want to say less so in recent years, and maybe I'm just getting used to it, and it doesn't seem like a strange thing that I picked up and registered the way that it did, like the first times that it happened. And like, it's not that I don't see things on shrooms, but like I don't see things that I can't see not on shrooms. I think the thing that I spend a lot of time looking at regardless is like trees. And just, I don't know, like the movement of them on their branches with the wind and against the other colors of things outside. Like sometimes they don't look real, or how I expect them to look. And I think that's really what my experience of mushrooms is like I would just look up at the trees and they wouldn't be what I expected. They would be in these, I don't know, like magical states of movement and color and interacting with the other parts of, I'm sorry, I was looking at the trees outside, the other parts of the environment that they're in. And most of the time I just don't take the time to pay attention and notice that stuff. But like I spent a lot of the last year sitting in my bedroom staring at the window and blessedly, the street that I live on is lined with trees. So I spent a lot more time, you know, not on drugs, just looking at things, like actually looking at things. And I think it gets me to the same place. Like, I guess I was expecting something crazier, or like less believable. But like, why would my brain supply me with stuff that I don't believe? Right? It's a different perspective, I think, for me. Like, it gets me to focus, or got me to focus. I don't know if I'll continue to dabble. Maybe. I mean, like, it's fun. It can be fun. But I think it, like, more easily pops you into that place of being able to focus on what you're taking in, rather than, you know, like, looking at something and, like, it triggering a memory or a feeling or whatever that you've tagged to this experience in the past. Whereas taking mushrooms, those things just didn't register. All I was registering was what I was actually looking at in that moment. And so, like, it's interesting. Like, I've been friends with people who've been and are a lot more into drugs than I was probably, well, I guess I'm interested in a different way. But I'm very curious, so I enjoy listening to people's experiences of recreational drugs. And I had a friend who would tell me, you know, about the things that she thought or experienced or focused on. And I'm like, dude, that's how I perceive life all the time. And I thought that was weird and maybe, I don't know, like a bad sign. But I think it's good, or like, it's a positive thing for me. Even just like now having tried it, because I hadn't at that point, anything other than weed. I don't know, I thought maybe that the friend hadn't been explaining the weirdness of drugs enough. Or like I was just downplaying the things that she was telling me about into something that was I don't know, like familiar and understandable for me. But I think that I just luckily have paid enough attention to like internal workings and paying attention to, you know, like what's happening in my body when I experience things. And if that's, I don't know, like if it matches with what's happening in my mind. And I think that's kind of what, or like at least what my experience of like shrooms has been. I can't really talk about my experience of being high on weed because it's been so long since it's been anything other than like nothing, like drinking water. And anyway, I was telling one of my best friends about this sort of experience the other day because she's more experienced with shrooms than I am. And like I don't know, like wondering if my brain was broken. Not broken, but like, or needed, I guess, like more to get the impact I was sort of expecting. But then I think expectation colors your experiences, whether or not you're sober. Anyway, it was interesting and very like validating, and it made me stop smoking weed. Like we were like video chatting and like smoking together, and I haven't done since then. And I've had no desire to do since then. I've just been trying to pay more attention and stop distracting myself from the things that I know my brain can do. It's so fucking weird.